This video won't just talk about unicorns or funding numbers. It's about how Africa is quietly shaping a new startup reality, one investment wave at a time. Africa's startup ecosystem doesn't often make global headlines, even though it should. Over the last 5 years, its growth has quietly mirrored the global tech investment scene, with one key difference: a slight delay. While the world saw a surge in startup investments peaking in 2021, Africa followed the same curve. But just 6 months later, a rise, a crash, and now, signs of steady recovery. In 2024, African startups raised around $1.5 billion in equity funding. That's only 0.6% of the global total, despite Africa accounting for about 18% of the world's population. At first glance, this gap might seem like a failure. Yet, it actually reveals massive untapped potential. Because behind the numbers is a continent of young, ambitious, and increasingly tech-savvy entrepreneurs. They are building solutions in fintech, logistics, ClimateTech, and more. To understand what's happening now, we need to zoom out and look at the structure of Africa's startup investment landscape. Today, 4 countries dominate the scene: Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and Egypt. They attracted nearly 89% of all startup funding on the continent in 2024. But under the surface, that dominance is starting to shift. West Africa, for example, has attracted more funding than any other region since 2019, or $5.8 billion total. And while Nigeria leads within that group, other countries like Ghana, Senegal, Benin, and Côte d'Ivoire are stepping up fast. Ghana has raised $460 million since 2019. Senegal, $410 million. The other West African countries followed suit with significant numbers as well. More than just an amount, they also indicate growth beyond traditional hotspots. What's fascinating is how some countries are punching far above their weight. Kenya, for instance, accounts for nearly 29% of all startup funding this year, despite holding just 4% of Africa's GDP and population. Meanwhile, countries like Ethiopia and Algeria, that are large in population or GDP, are still finding their place in the startup world. Their time may be coming. Sector-wise, it is no surprise that fintech dominates, drawing in nearly half of all funding. As mobile adoption and digital services increase, fintech enables financial inclusivity in a large part of the population. We're starting to see broader interest in other sectors, such as ClimateTech, PropTech, energy, and logistics. They are all rising fast. This suggests investors are now thinking longer term and more regionally. So where does this leave us? Africa may be 6 months behind global trends, but that delay might just be its advantage. It means founders and investors can observe global shifts, adapt faster, and leapfrog mistakes. From $900 million in 2020 to $1.5 billion in 2024, Africa's startup funding has grown 62%. The region is outpacing many other global regions, even during a funding downer. This isn't just about money. It's about the maturity of an ecosystem, one learning from global markets, yet increasingly carving its own path. As the continent continues to grow its digital infrastructure and talent base, the question isn't if Africa will become a major player. It's when. Because in this new chapter of global innovation, Africa isn't just catching up. Instead, it's warming up. Curious about which African startups are attracting global attention or where investors are looking next? Head over to lucidityinsights.com for a deeper look into the data, the founders, and the funding flows.